Hello, everyone. I thought I would read to you chapter 6 of my book, The Ecstasy and the Ignominy. Um, Now, what has happened so far is that Edward has now arrived at Frederick Harris's house. His boss, he's spoken to Catherine Harris, who he's secretly in love with, and now Frederick Harris is about ready to offer him a proposal. And I think this chapter really explores the corruption of capitalism and all of the systematic problems with it, and how Frederick Harris is, although he has a valid concern, he's using his employees to suit his own personal purposes. So this is chapter 6 of The Ecstasy and the Ignominy. Chapter 6, A Test of Loyalty, Edward's Narrative. Stepping into the dim lambency of Frederick's study, I was immediately drawn to the cupboard of books that presided over the chamber. Encased in pristinely polished glass, their lustrous spines entranced the sensibilities of all who entered. In some ways, they were like sumptuous welkins that had never dissolved into dispassionate yesterdays. To them, morning was an eternal thought, glossiness an infinite dream, and portentousness an everlasting disposition. Within the capacious cavern, they were the only burnished beacons. Slouching over his desk, Frederick appeared to be completely detached from the eddied stream of life, his gaze drawn to the sundry of disarrayed papers that eluded the tip of his shuddering quill. His viridescent spheres were as impenetrable as hibernal waters, at least insofar as they never quavered, never shed medicinal ambrosias, but always maintained cumbrous linearity. It occasionally appeared as if they were veils for listless agonies, the remnants of which manifested in his rigidifying brow. In fact, his entire physiognomy was an ireful artifice. The refinements were no more substantive than the steel manufactured in his factories, for they were just as undemonstrative. The holocaust of industrialization had congealed into his flesh, exalting every crease and crinkle. "Come in, Mr. Compton. I expected you sooner." "It was a long walk over here, sir. Besides, your lovely wife is very charming," I said, taking a slight bow. "There's nothing charming about her. She's beautiful to look at, yes, but treacherous to know. Don't trust capricious spiders, Mr. Compton. Sooner or later, they'll have you in their web." Frederick's gaze continued to revel in the sea of envelopes that bedecked the desk, never faltering nor wavering. His hawkish nose was like a rheumatic glacier, transiently brittle, but eternally meridian. He could no longer recognize the face of Winter, for they were one and the same. "Is that really all you have to say about her?" "We didn't come here to discuss my wife, Mr. Compton," Frederick replied, his phlegmatic gaze finally meeting mine. "What did we come here to discuss, sir?" "The future, Mr. Compton. If the past is a drop in a vast ocean, then the future is a disconsolate tempest, one which flows back into the seas of our past. We can either choose to sail on such a sea, or we can drown in it. What choice will you make, I wonder?" Frederick's intonations were like rancorous lances piercing through golden hearts. They had never tasted the loftiness of serendipitous gales, the souls of which joined the choirs of God's cosmic fevers. Peering up at the sundry of garret windows, my sagacious fears embraced the soft rekindling of cerulean nights. The gaze of the moon was like an Epicurean lover, its potencies replete with, with, with adamantine vespers. Taking a seat across from Frederick, I noticed that the world grew more intimate. Seemingly increasing in height, the desk loomed over me with portentous valor, like a mountain encroaching upon a convalescent garden. Beneath the candlelight, I was just another grain of sand in the cadences of eternity. "What is this all about, Mr. Harris? I know I've been working for you for quite a long time, but you've hardly spoken 2 words to me. Frankly, I'm surprised you know I exist." "You might not have known it, but I've been keeping my eyes on you for quite some time. You're an abstemious worker, Mr. Compton, and from what I've observed, quite loyal. I admire that in a man. It's a rare quality, one which deserves to be recompensed. You see, Mr. Compton, I'm a very punctilious man. I rise at the same time every morning, rain or shine. I always part my hair the same way, dress the same way, and even make love the same way. I try to be the one consistent entity in an inconsistent universe. Being a consistent man, I require employees who share the same proclivity. What is your point, Mr. Harris? My point is, you are the one burgeoning flower in a garden full of thorns. I would like you to help me pluck out those thorns. As you no doubt know, disloyalty has been growing down at the plant. There's even been talk of rebellion. I need men I can trust, not just monetarily, but spiritually as well. What can I do, sir? I want you to purge the thorns from my domain. Report any signs of disloyalty to me. Is that understood? Frederick's breaths were redolent of didactic whirlwinds, their rhythms exceedingly tangential. As the parsimonious candlelight lost its feverish acerbity, the right side of Frederick's countenance was encased in a volatile penumbration, and for a bleeding interval in time, it appeared as if his constitution had become a refuge for the eclipses of the world. I understand, but I don't see how I could possibly be an asset. Within those stone walls, I'm nothing more than an invisible vapor. I see nothing, I hear nothing, I simply exist. Although a drop of rain might not be able to pacify a forest fire, it can certainly nourish the dreams that linger within the roots. There is no need to quench a fire just as long as you can keep it from spreading. Some people think of me as being a very callous man. They think I have no feeling, no charity within me. What they fail to realize, however, is that while green pastures may long for the sun, they will not be able to survive without the faces of rain clouds. I am such a face, and like the rain clouds, I cannot be wished away. I'm flattered, sir. To be perfectly honest, I have heard talk, whispers if you will, down at the plant. It's been it's been somewhat disconcerting to say the least. Have you heard of a man named Bertrand Shaw? His name was mentioned. He's a philosopher, or at least that's what he calls himself. I don't know where he came from. I don't know what he really wants. But for around a year now, he's been putting ideas into the heads of just about everyone in the town. They are provocative to say the least. Men aren't ready for such ideas. They are noble, yes, but the moment they are implemented, society will descend into a nightmarish sleep, one which will have no awakening. I hear he is giving another lecture tomorrow night. I would like you to go to it. Report back not only what you hear, but what you feel as well. I want to know how enchanting his eloquence really is. Frederick's lips, previously in a state of pensive linearity, succumbed to a sundry of strident curvations, each augmentation illustrative of solipsistic calumnies. His portly eyebrows, never so winsome as in that moment, ascended into the crepuscular shadows, not too dissimilar from streaks of snow disseminating over impassioned violets. Mr. Harris, I'm humbled by your faith in me, but I must confess, and I mean this with the utmost sincerity, that the men do have legitimate grievances. The long hours, not to mention the fumes, have taken their toll on all of us. A man can only toil away in hell for so long. Eventually, he must either reach for heaven, like a comet traversing through majestic constellations, or else remain forever in shadow, I said, gazing downwards. Your point is well taken. Conditions will improve. You have my word, but first I must know who is deserving of such clemency. After all, heaven was not built in a day. Before God could create paradise, he first had to cast out the halos that were once the crowning jewels of his kingdom. It's perfectly reasonable to reach for heaven, Mr. Compton, just as long as you don't lose your wings, Frederick said, his gaze descending towards the sea of crumpled papers. As Frederick's intonations reverberated into silent memories, the last breath of winter beseeched my corporeal ligaments, as though drawn to my niveous complexion. The rivers of time ceased flowing, resistant to heaven's cries. Warmth was nothing more than a furtive spectre, its essence evanescing into the summers of bygone austerities. We were two flames radiating through time, our destinies written in the whispers between thoughts. And that is all of chapter 6. Hopefully, I will get to the next chapter soon. And until next time, goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this. I know a lot of people aren't really paying attention, but this is essentially to get my my book down in audio form, so I can have an archive of it in audio form. So I hope people watch, but that's my purpose. So I hope you will continue to keep track of this. I think this works quite well as an audio series. Um, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, goodbye.